45 newly inaugurated ministers of the Federal Republic to prioritize the interests and welfare of the entire nation and its diverse population above any regional or state-specific considerations. He said this at the inauguration of new members of the Federal Executive Council at the State House Conference Center. The president also emphasized the immense responsibility the ministers now bear in shaping policies that will significantly influence the lives of hundreds of millions of Nigerians. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
The ministers take the oath of office by pledging allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. These ministers will execute and implement the plans, programs and policies of President Bola Tinubu's administration. With their portfolios assigned to them, they have their jobs cut out already.
With such high honor comes tremendous responsibility. In this moment of abundant promise and peril in equal measure, all of you who have been sworn in have been called to distinguish yourself. Minister of Federal Republic you are, not minister of a region or minister of a particular state.
Now the ball has been set rolling. These men and women, 45 of them, now members of the Federal Executive Council, will resume at their desk in the various ministries to drive the vehicle of governance.
My portfolio has been a shocker to most people. It has been the major upset of the entire cabinet portfolio assignment. However, it's been deliberate. It's deliberate because whoever has an analytical mind will know that the hydrocarbon world, the world is moving away from hydrocarbon. Oil is even on the downward trend in global economy. You now have electric cars, you have gas, you have alternative fossil fuel and all of that. So the world is moving away gradually from oil. So solid minerals is the next growth factor of the Nigeria's economy.
We believe that by the grace of Almighty God and the support of Mr. President, we will be out there on the road 24 hours every single day to ensure that millions of Nigerians are elevated from poverty while we attend to humanitarian needs across board.
And I think all the expectations have been put into words by the President during the inauguration. So it's left for us to roll up our sleeves as ministers in his cabinet to ensure that the renewed hope agenda finds a strong footing.
I'm glad the President also included food security as part of agriculture. That's to say, to secure the food that the country needs. Not only that we have export potentials, but I believe that we can feed the country adequately and also export whatever that is left.
The first Federal Executive Council meeting is expected to be convened in the coming days. And just like President Tinubu, Nigerians have high hopes and expectations from the ministers as they carry on their newly assigned tasks. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
State House correspondent Femi Akonde joins me now for more on this story. Femi, you spoke with some of the ministers after they were sworn in. Will you say they understand the urgency and enormosity of the expectation of Nigerians at this time and how much pressure they might be under?
Well, Femi, they quite understand that because a lot of them were part of President Bola Tinubu's campaign when he was campaigning to become president. So they were there when he unveiled the Renewed Hope agenda. Some of them were even part of putting together that manifesto, Renewed Hope, that Nigerians voted for and eventually gave the APC and President Bola Tinubu victory at the polls. So they quite understand the task ahead of them. They quite understand how President Bola Tinubu intends to drive that vehicle of governance to implement these plans, policies and programs he has outlined in the Renewed Hope agenda of his administration. And they also understand the state of the nation as it is presently. the challenges of security, jobs, the economy, and all other critical aspects of the country that needs to be revamped and needs to be stimulated as we speak. They understand all of that, and I will tell you, Nifemi, that they will be under intense pressure, not only from President Bola Tinubu, who of course will supervise the execution of these policies, but also from Nigerians who cannot wait for the President Bola Tinubu's administration to deliver the goods, to deliver what was promised to them during the elections. So the coming days will really be critical. Nigerians will be scrutinizing the performance of these ministers that have just been newly sworn in as they set down to work. Nifemi.
We have the date for the inauguration of the Federal Executive Council, rather, their maiden meeting.
Nifemi, I didn't hear your question.
I'm asking if there's a date for the FEC inaugural meeting.
Well, there's no date yet, but these ministers have already set to work. We have seen a lot of them resume office. We have seen them hold meetings with permanent secretaries, directors, and members of their ministry, telling them their blueprint, how they intend to go about turning around the fortunes of their various ministries, how they intend to meet the expectations. That is the most important thing for now, but we do not know exactly when that inaugural Federal Executive Council meeting will be convened, where the ministers will also be able to come and submit memorandums for vetting and also approvals by President Bola Tinubu. There's no date for that as we speak.
That's correspondent Femi Akode live for us in Abuja. Also joining me now is an APC chieftain in Rivers State, Tony Okocha. Thank you for joining us on the news at 7. We now have 45 substantive ministers. With all of the challenges we're currently facing, talk about inflation, slow growth in the economy, and widespread insecurity, what would you say these new ministers have to do differently? Mr. Okocha, I was just asking you what you think the new ministers must do differently to address the challenges facing the country as we speak.
Okay, thank you very much. For me and for critical thinkers aside, I think that the president's administration, that's President Bola Tinubu's administration, effectively took off from today. The reason I say so is that today he has inaugurated 45 ministers designated into various ministries and all of that to superintend over the affairs of those ministries and endeavors of governance. I want to commend the president first and foremost because we have read that he is a talent hunter. He's somebody who is able to assemble eggheads for the purposes of delivering in government. Now, that said, the ministers, as the much I know, at least the few that I know, and then also looking and reading their resume upon their screening and all of that, when they appeared before the Senate, appear to be eggheads. They are square pegs put in square holes. I can tell you that for free, because if I know a former governor of Rivers State who has been designated to be the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and what confidences he exudes, the courage that he has, the zest and the passion for Nigeria, and I want to juxtapose that with others, then I will know that I can say to you clearly that the governor, the administration is as good as taking off, and we will see a whole lot. The president had made promises even before and after he assumed office as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Essentially, the seeming hardship that Nigerians have experienced that has cut across all party lines and all divides. And then he had made promises, but those promises cannot effectively or have not been effectively implemented, because the sheriffs that were supposed to man the ministries that will bring them about are not there. So it looks like he had been working solo, and he cannot be a compendium of knowledge. He is not omniscient that will be everywhere at the same time. But with the ministers, I can say to Nigerians, and I'm dead sure, that Nigeria and the government of President Bola Tinubu has taken off and is going to take Nigeria to our El Dorado in no distant time.
You talked about the FCT minister, a former governor from your state, and possibly the only member of the opposition who made this cabinet. How much support is he getting back from home, particularly from the APC in Rivers?
Oh, I wish you were in Port Harcourt. You would have seen that the entire town went agog for, in fact, in commemoration of the inauguration of the former governor. That is to show you how much he is loved by the Rivers people. The former governor imprinted his name in the sands of history whilst governing Rivers State for 8 years. Of course, you're aware that his achievements, subsequently him the titles of Mr. Project, Quality Project, Infrastructure Development Governor of the Year. And those developmental strides are dotting the streets of Port Harcourt. And we are saying to you, and I want to say to Nigerians, that they can go home and sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Governor Wike, former Governor Wike, as we still have, call him, is somebody who has a passion for this country. He has passion to deliver. He's not a pushover. He's not a man who sits on the throne and does not have a direct touch with what he is doing. If Wike gives you an assignment to deliver on a thing, as you are going, Wike is even ahead of you on that particular assignment because he cherishes nothing other than unparalleled achievements. So he will transport all that we have seen here that he did, that has given him those accolades and encomiums to the center.
Yeah, probably we'll see how all of this will play out.
The federal capital territory of Nigeria. And there's a master plan. Unfortunately, some of us who are regular visitors to Abuja are beginning to see that most of the reasons, the plan, the aesthetics of Abuja are beginning to drift into something else. They are drifting into the oblivion. Some areas in Abuja are gradually becoming slums. It has become a marketplace everywhere you go to. The slightest space anybody sees,
did mention that earlier. We'll see what his master plan is and how he intend to implement them. APC chieftain in River State, Tony Okocha, thank you so much for talking to us on the news tonight.